is up, guys? DJ Eastwood here. This is the Run It Back podcast, home of the most brutally honest Philly sports takes on YouTube. Some people don't like it, but it's because some people don't like the truth. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the like button on the video. It helps me out tremendously. I haven't made an Eagles video in a little while because there's just not a whole lot to talk about except for leading up to the draft and everything like that. But I wanted to speak on this today because I heard some absolute debauchery today. I heard some absolute nonsense, some asinine comments from people on TV, people on Twitter, and all this kind of. Let's talk about it, man. The Jacksonville Jaguars have basically announced that they would be willing to trade Nick Foles in the offseason this season. Now, keep in mind, they just signed this dude to a $100 million contract last year, and then Gardner Minshew came in once he got hurt, and everybody loved him. Then Foles came back, stunk it up. Then he sounded like he didn't really care about anything in the post-game press conference. He talked about, like, God and his family and stuff, and they were like, does this guy even want to play football anymore? So they're like, hey, we'll trade him. And that's fine. But Eagles fans, of course, have to start talking out of their asses, spewing garbage out of their faces, saying the Eagles should trade for Nick Foles to back up Carson Wentz. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? If you think this, delete everything right now. Delete all your social media pages, all your take your Nick Foles posters off the wall. Delete all your pages with the Eagles players as your profile picture, whatever else you try to act like a super fan. You're insane. There's many reasons I would not trade for Nick Foles to back up Carson Wentz. Many reasons. Let me list just a couple of them because I don't have all damn night to make this video, okay? The first reason is, what kind of asinine football team would have $200 million tied up in quarterbacks? What in the hell are you talking about? You can't have a $100 million backup quarterback. It doesn't make any sense. The team needs wide receivers, like I need another hole in the head. The team needs defensive backs, like Antonio Brown needs anger management. The team needs a lot of things besides a backup quarterback. And not to mention, you just paid Nate Sudfeld $8 million last year to be the backup, and he got hurt. So that's reason number one. You can't sign Nick Foles you can't trade for Nick Foles to be Carson Wentz's backup. You guys are insane. The Folesian society is it's just insane at this point. It's a cult. It's a cult at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have a building in the middle of Texas somewhere where you all congregate and worship the Nick Foles statue in a church chapel. But let's move on. Another reason you would not trade for Nick Foles to back up Carson Wentz is because that completely is insulting to Carson Wentz. You need it to be his team. You already have a statue of Nick Foles out front of the damn stadium. And Carson Wentz knows that he didn't win that Super Bowl, and that's not his Super Bowl. He already has that in the back of his mind. Now you're going to bring the Super Bowl winning quarterback back here to back him up, to put even more pressure on him to succeed and mess up the whole flow and mess up everything in the locker room. You had Alshon Jeffrey talking about Nick Foles last year, or talking about Carson Wentz discreetly to Josina Anderson and ESPN and all these people. You had people leaking stuff. You had players talking trash about him because they wanted to play for Nick Foles and they're mad that he got traded or mad that he didn't get re-signed or whatever. You can't do that to Carson Wentz. This is his team. Not to mention, he just had a 4,000-yard season and 27 touchdowns throwing the damn trash man and ice cream truck drivers. Give this man some weapons. You're not signing Nick Foles to back him up. Reason number 3, you can't sign Nick Foles to back up Carson Wentz. Because the Folesian lovers would come out like zombies in the middle of the night in their Nick Foles attire, and every single time Carson Wentz threw even an incompletion, they will be holding up signs yelling, "We want Nick Foles, bench Carson Wentz, trade Carson Wentz." It would just be ridiculous nonsense. I can't even believe I just yelled about this for 5 minutes. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If anybody else tells me to my face that the Eagles should trade for Nick Foles to back up Carson Wentz, we're throwing hands. My name is DJ Eastwood. This is the Run It Back Podcast. Have a good night. Everybody have a good night except for the Folesian Society. Have a terrible night, idiots.